Hey guys, it's Yvette and I am back with the Clue 2 for the small Whimsy quilt that I am doing for the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt that goes on for 10 months. So this is basically month 2. The title of this puzzle mystery quilt is Name of the Rose, and this is my fabric. So the first clue, we had put everything together, and I was saying how my blocks always turn out small, and I also mentioned that I use best press before I actually sew anything on all of my pieces to just give them a little more body to the fabric. It makes it a little easier to work with. And a lot of you told me that I was basically ruining my own quilt because when you starch, your fabric shrinks up. So I said, hey, let's do a little test and see if that actually happens. So I am going to measure the pieces, and then I am going to starch them like I always do, because I'm not going to stop doing that. That's something that is non-negotiable for me. That's how I sew, and I'm just going to see what happens when I starch. Now I could sit here and I could, do all the measurements and everything, but really I can't give those measurements out. And that is just because everybody who gets this quilt pays for it, and I would not want to jeopardize anything for the designer, who is Sheila Christensen. She's a friend of mine, and I would totally not do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off. I will measure everything. I will starch. I will give it about, I don't know, an hour or so, and then I will come back and remeasure, and I will just tell you what the difference is, if anything. So we're going to see if this is like a little myth we can debunk or what. So I will be back in just a bit. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Yvette, and I am back after I have lightly starched my fabric. I did measure all the pieces before. Well, I didn't measure all. I pulled one from each stack and measured them, and then I did lightly starch them, and it's actually the next day because I took the time to go ahead and lightly starch all of the fabric that I had from the small clue and the large clue. And I'm telling you, after doing that and then going back and measuring, in fact, I will, like I said, it's been a day now, I will even measure one more time on one of them. Yep. I don't notice the difference, guys. If there is a difference, then it is minuscule, because I just did not notice a difference in the size measuring before and measuring after. Now I'm sure that there are loads of people out there who are just, yelling at the screen right now like, that's not right. But that's all I could do. I measured before, I starched, I measured after. Now maybe it's because I use a light starch. I don't know. All I use is best press. It is, in fact, what does it even say? It says the clear starch and sizing alternative. But it also says, I think it says that it's a light starch. Does it say that anywhere? Well, it says starch and sizing alternative. So I'm really not sure, guys. But I'm telling you, I didn't notice a size difference. So I don't know. But I have to say this. Just because there are loads of people who have said that, I am going to make sure going forward that I am doing the best I can to sew a scant 1/4 inch, which, as I know, is pretty much what we're supposed to be doing anyway, I think. I mean, it says on here all seams are a 1/4 inch. So, but I tend to, on these mystery quilts, I tend to use a scant 1/4 inch, but maybe I'm not doing such a great job. So I am going to attempt to get better at that. And I just want to also say, I am not freaking out. Like when my blocks are a little bit small, I personally am not really freaking out. I just don't want for you guys to be watching and then thinking, you know, oh, all her blocks are small, or, you know, whatever. That's always been kind of the case with me, so I'm used to it. And my quilts, I think, always come out lovely, so I'm not really worried about it, guys. Scout, you're gonna fall, buddy. Anyway, look, there was my experiment. I didn't notice the difference, but I am ready to sew, so let's just start putting something together. I'm excited. Okay, so section 2A. It looks like we're gonna have a section A and a section B on this small quilt. So I am going to take a small B triangle, which are these guys. And let me scooch all of this over so that they're not in the way. I'll just put them along the side here. Okay, so I'm taking the B fabric and I'm gonna join it to the top left of a large C, which are these guys. And I'm making 4 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's all of those. And then I'm going to just pull 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, let me separate these out so I can show you what I'm going to do. Okay, and then I'm going to sew, oops, that one there, on all 4. Hi, Jelly Bean. You let Scout push you off, huh? I'm going to top the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach these. I will come back and we are going to put another one of these on the other side. Okay, we want to make sure we put one side on first, come over, do our pressing, and then start and then attach our B or the second fabric. And the reason why you want to do that is because you need to have this press point right up here so that when you sew the second piece on, it overlaps, and that will make your flying geese and also give you your 1/4 inch at the top. So let me go and sew this one side, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have sewed all of our B pieces to our C pieces on the left side, and now all I need to do is add the ones on the right, which will go here. I will flip it over and sew this seam line. And what I didn't show you on the first time around was that I do mark my seams. I always have. If it's not something that you want to do, you absolutely can skip this part and just take it straight to your machine and use your 1/4 inch foot. Okay, so here I am back. It's been a day, but we're back, and I have my section 2A number 1 finished, and the next step is to sew a B rectangle to the top of these. So we are going to take these guys, and we are going to sew them on top like so, and we'll just flip them right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch seam right here. So I will go and take care of that and be right back for our step 3. Okay, so I have the rectangles sewed to the top of the flying geese that we had, and now we're going to set these aside. Okay, and then we are going to take the bee fabric, let me move this a little somewhere else. Scooch it. And we are going to make 4 more of the flying geese, just like we did in step 1. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to sew the left side on first, and then once we have the left side sewed on and then pressed, we will come back and we will attach the right side so that the right fabric is overlapping the left fabric. So we are going to head over to the sewing machine now. Okay, so as you can see, I have sewed on the left side of each of these triangles, and I have pressed toward the toward the F fabric, and I'm just doing it that way. I'll probably alternate between pieces, what I'm going to do, if I'm going to press open or press to the side that they tell us to, just to kind of give you guys an idea of how things are going to look after you press them. Okay, so then the next thing that we're going to do is, now that we have the left side sewed on, we are going to take the right side, fold it right sides together, and sew our 1/4 inch seam here. So I will go and do those stitches and come back for our next step. Okay, so here we have the flying geese are ready, and now we will take the pieces that we have already sewed before, and we're going to take, let me scooch these up. We're going to take one of these, and we are going to attach the flying geese that we just made to the top of that. So what we'll do is we'll just fold that down right sides together, and we will stitch a 1/4 inch seam right here. And once we have those all sewed together, I'll be right back for us to get to section B, because this is going to be the end of section A, and I'll show you what we're going to do with those, and then move on to section 2B. Okay, so I have sewed these pieces together, and okay, so now we're supposed to measure them at 6.5 inches by 9.5 inches. And I've already done a preliminary sort of measuring, and they're very close. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do, and listen, this is a personal decision. I could just leave them like this because they are that close to being 6.5 by 9.5. But personally, I prefer to trim up because if you do zoom in, like, or I could zoom in right here, you can see that, you know, it's off by about almost 1/8 of an inch down this way. And so, you know, that kind of thing, I prefer to just clean up. That way, when we get to the end and we are having to join them together, I at least have a clean line to work with. Even if that means that I'm short by, you know, like 1/8 of an inch or even less. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to just slightly clean them up. If you've seen me don't do that before, I really hardly cut anything off because I'm so close. So I just like to straighten up the lines. That's basically all I'm going to do. So, what I like to do is I will find a place where I can put one of the straight lines to make sure that I am keeping everything nice and straight. And I can just cut off the slightest bit to just clean up the line, like I said. These are actually, it's this bottom piece that it looks like it's just too short this way, but the rest of them are okay. But like I said, this is just my decision. You absolutely do not have to do any of this with yours. I am going to clean up my lines. And it's just a decision I'm making. You absolutely do not have to do that. See, so I barely take any off, but now I have this nice clean line to work with whenever I come back. Okay, and I think, again, personal decision, but I'm just going to leave the top and the bottom because I think that they look pretty good. So there you go. That's how I'm going to clean mine up. So I'm just going to do the other 3, and then I'll come back and we will move on to section 2B. Okay, so I have trimmed up all 4 of these, and according to our section 2A, we are going to take 2 of them, and we are going to label these 2. We're going to label them 2A. So I've just been using this little sheet of paper, and I'm going to write 2A, and then I'm going to take my paper scissors. Don't want anyone to freak out. And I'm going to put that on here with a Wonder Clip. Okay, and then I'll set it aside. And then we're going to take the other 2, and we'll take our, I had to scooch this for a second. We're going to take our fabric A with all the cat hair on it. Thank goodness these quilts are for me. Scooch it again. And we're going to attach them to the top, like so. Okay, so we're going to attach those, and I will do that over at the sewing machine and come back, and we will have our 2 sections completed. I'm so excited. Hee hee. Baby, I know. I'm almost done. I'm just closing up. That's all I'm doing. Well, you gotta give me just a second. Okay, so I have finished the last 2 pieces, and I just kind of trimmed up a little bit on the sides. it's short around by maybe like 1/8 of an inch, not even that much. But I love how they came out. I'm very happy with them. And so now these last two, we are going to label as section 2B. And so I will just write 2B. And here are my paper scissors. All right. So I'm going to put on a little wonder clip to hold that down. We've got 2A and 2B. And let's see, I have my container that I keep all of my pieces in. And I will just lay these right on top. And I also like to keep my sheet just in case. So I'll put that in there. And I will also put my color card in there so that I don't lose it. And until next month, and I will be putting together my large Bewitched pieces. And so keep an eyeball out for that because I'm going to do those next. Thanks for sewing with me.